All right, so we left off last time with the uterus, the egg tumbling down the uterine wall, and I told you here's the egg, the blastocyst. It wants to dig down and access these uterine blood vessels because that's where it's going to get what it needs to survive. So you see now it's buried in there, burrowed in. Pretty cool. Here's the actual egg, and here we have the yolk sac. Nourishing it. So yeah, I have it labeled here. Yolk sac here, and that's the actual embryo. Okay, and continuing. So very cool. We have the placenta here. So I don't know if it's labeled. Maybe just put it placenta. So here, this goes to the fetus. You all know it, umbilical cord. Umbilical cord. And then these projections here, just like you have in your small intestine, these are the chorionic villi. So these small projections of the fetal blood vessels that jut out here and then get very close and mix with the maternal blood supply. Very important. Get nutrients into the fetal blood supply and get waste products out of there. And this is the intravillous space over here. OUS space. Corpus luteum. That's so this is HCG, and remember that comes on right when the embryo is fertilized. It releases it to tell the corpus luteum, which is the egg follicle after it releases the egg, to keep making progesterone and estrogen. That's these two here. So this is estrogen, progesterone here. And you'll see they increase, and then right when the child is born, they both drop off significantly, while HCG starts to drop off. After 2 months, and then continually decreases, goes to pretty low level after 4 months of pregnancy. So pretty cool. You can see how those hormone levels, and you see, guess what's making those hormones? What's this thing here? The placenta. So placenta kind of takes over for the corpus luteum, makes a ton of these hormones, massive amounts. Normally a female doesn't make that much estrogen and progesterone, but when she's pregnant, the placenta makes huge amounts. So eventually there's only one way this can end, hopefully, and that's for the birth to happen. The baby has to be born. So we see the head pushing against the cervix, and that transmits a signal to the brain. The brain stimulates the pituitary gland, which is in the brain, to secrete oxytocin, and this oxytocin is then carried to the uterus, which is this structure. This is the uterus, much larger now. Remember, this is pushing up on the heart. The lungs are smashed in here, and the intestines. It's really, normally the uterus is only about this big, so this is really creating an issue with all the other internal organs the female has. So that oxytocin stimulates those contractions, which eventually pushes the baby out towards the cervix, or out of the cervix and into the world. So we see a trend here, a gradual increase if we do a line of best fit. As the body mass gets bigger, the gestation period, fancy word for length of pregnancy. length of pregnancy. And we see, if you look, these are some of your bigger animals. These are some of your smaller animals. And we're about smack dab in the middle. We're kind of, you think about the average weight, you know, we weigh more than sheep. Maybe not a leopard, about a pig. So in this general area is where we're at. So do a claim, evidence, reasoning on this. Claim large animals have longer gestation times. Evidence, we see this chart, we see a positive correlation. As the body mass increases, so does the gestation time. And the reasoning, this is a little more difficult, but there must be something about when you are a larger animal, you need to be in the womb longer to develop fully in order to survive when you're born. Because it's not going to do any good if you're born and don't survive. So larger animals need to be bigger when they're born. And that just kind of makes intuitive sense. Bigger animals need longer to get ready. So here's cutting to a shot of a testes. This is spermatogonium. IUM. Sorry, it's not so good. These are like pre-sperm, before they're fully eggs. I've been talking about Sertoli cells. They're like nurse. They're like a nurse for the sperm. They help provide the environment, keep anything happening from the sperm, provide nourishment, so they're born, or so the sperm can be developed. And you see these tails of the sperm. So these tails are collecting in this tubule, and they're ready to get pushed out, like we saw a nice little animation for Darren. And this is the inside. This is called the seminiferous tubule. So the seminiferous tubule, there and there, and you can see one there where the sperm collect and then get pushed along to the epididymis, where they can then mature. Which we don't quite, we see here, yeah, this is the epididymis. See how it surrounds the testes? I always forget how many I's. I want to put a Y in various places, but I think I got that right. So all the tubules here are releasing sperm to the epididymis. And then here we got a close-up view, the spermatogonium here. They're diploid, so for us it'd be 46. Then right away they go to 23 haploid, so half the number of chromosomes. This is following these. Yes, Sertoli cell. Following these sperm as they mature, less mature, not even babies yet. Babies, like, and then like 1 year old, boom, then they gotta go out to the epididymis to say become adolescents and full adult sperm. And another diagram showing cool images of the seminiferous tubule and this spermatogonium here. They're maturing as they go down. And a little close up of Sertoli cells right there. And moving on to the egg, primordial, so very pre-egg. Primordial follicle, and this would be the oocyte. Okay, right there, that's the oocyte. And then secondary follicle, that structure, see, I have trouble, there we go, surrounding the oocyte. This is the egg, right? Follicle surrounding it. And here we got the oocyte. We'll label it again. And surrounding it, zona pellucida. which we had in the last video, which the sperm has to eat through. We have another little image there. Oh, and remember we saw Natalie, very end of the video, the egg bursts through the wall of the ovary. That's what you're seeing now. So this would be ovulation, the egg being released into that oviduct. And then the corpus luteum here, pumping out progesterone, estrogen to keep that endometrial lining. So corpus luteum. Oh yeah, so see that oocyte, zona pellucida. And then these regular supporting cells surrounding it. But yeah, this is a cutaway ovary. And let's see, this is the oocyte, zona pellucida. And this is another, this very outer part of the pellucida is called as corona radiata. Kind of like, yeah, the crown. It looks like a crown, doesn't it? You know, outside the sun's called corona too. Kind of cool. So, very tip, we have the acrosome where we will have the enzymes to get through, to punch through that corona, that zona pellucida. This is the nucleus. And here, mitochondria.